Hello, everybody. Welcome to today's webinar on how to file EEIs from Magaya to the new ACE portal. My name is Christian Lillemets. I'm the product manager at Magaya, and today we're going to show a successful filing, and we're also going to talk a little bit about the issues that we at Magaya have discovered with this process. So before we even begin, we will actually have a short poll for all of you to let us at Magaya know where you are with this process. And then this is going to be quite important for us to be able to take the next steps correctly and help you better. Then I'm going to go over what it requires for you to be successful in this process, what are some of the prerequisites, and what are some of the next steps that you should take. Then I'm going to demonstrate a successful filing of EEI to ACE, go through all the steps. And then I'm going to talk about and show a few issues that we know still exist at this point with the workflow or with the ACE portal. And finally, we're going to have a question and answer session as well. And by the way, on the right-hand side of the WebEx webinar window, you should see a Q&A panel, and you can type in your questions throughout this event, and we will try to get to them at the end. But you can already type in your questions. You don't have to actually wait until the end. Okay, and I have noticed on these events sometimes that some of the participants mysteriously tend to get unmuted. So just if you can also make sure that you have muted your microphone, that'll ensure that everybody on this webinar gets a pleasant audio experience. Okay, so let's get started here, and we will have a little poll. I will begin now. I will open the poll, and you should see the poll appear on your right-hand side on the panels there. And the questions are the following. First question, just have you been filing EEIs, formerly known as SEDs, from Magaya in the past? I'm expecting to get a yes there from most of you, but I do know that we have a few customers that have not been using that feature or plugin and that are going to come on board now with the new ACE portal. Then the second question, are you already filing EEI from Magaya to ACE? Having been in contact with our tech support a lot in the past few weeks, I know that we have already many customers using the new ACE portal, and the options there are yes, we are filing, no, we are not, and there's also a third option, we have attempted, but for some reason we haven't been successful. And then the third question, if you have already been filing to ACE, is probably the most important one for us to know where we stand with this. So what are the biggest problems for you in filing EEI from Magaya to ACE? Options are no problems, it works fine. We don't know how to start this process. The new interface or workflow is confusing. Data is not transmitted correctly from Magaya to ACE. The retrieval of the ITN number is causing issues sometimes. Amending shipments, which means filing the same shipment file from Magaya more than once, or then if none of these or multiple of these are your main issues with the filing, there's an option, simply say other or multiple. And then we have a question about the ACE exporter account. Have you successfully created one? Yes, no, or again, just attempted but didn't manage to create the account in the new ACE portal. And then finally, have you updated your Magaya system to version 10.23 or newer? Yes, no, or don't know. Because it might be that you don't know which software version you're using exactly, and that's part of today's presentation. I'll show you how to find out. Okay, so we have a few people that still haven't answered or haven't started the poll. On the right-hand side of your webinar window, you should see the polling panel, and there should be an open poll for you to pick answers to the questions. We will give everybody who's in progress, and that's a few of you, a few more moments to go. Again, why it's important to answer these poll questions, we know which of you answers in which way, so we can contact you and help you, especially regarding the question about what issues you're currently facing with the filing. All right. So in just a few seconds here, I'm going to close that poll. I see most of you that have started have finished already. And we will proceed with the presentation. Thank you everyone for answering. Thank you for contributing, and this helps us determine the most appropriate next steps in making sure this transition goes smoothly. All right, so I will close the poll now. And let's talk about what you will need to successfully do this process with Magaya. So first of all, as has been communicated by customs times and times over, the ACE portal requires a completely new account to be set up. The account is somewhat different than the account was in AES Direct, where you mostly had just one account per company. In ACE, you will have an account owner and then just regular users that can file as well. And I really urge you to create the ACE account, ACE exporter account, as soon as possible, because we have experienced ourselves, and our customers have also communicated that the help desk at US Customs is experiencing major backlogs. And we really don't want you to run into an even bigger backlog come May 1st or April 30th, where the AES Direct portal will be discontinued. Now, if you don't know how to create an ACE account, we have posted a newsletter where we also share some helpful links from US Customs, and we will repost that and share the link after this webinar as well, in email communication to all of you, and on page 1 of your Magaya product. Secondly, you will need to be on a Magaya version that is 10.23 or newer. So not just any version 10.2, specifically version number 10.23. And actually, it's preferably you would be on 10.25 or newer, because in release 10.25 we fixed a pretty significant issue with the EEI filing to ACE. And I will show you in a minute how to check what your version is. If it is lower than 10.25, or especially if it's lower than 10.23, I urge you to update your version. And for those of you that are Magaya Cloud customers, you will need our tech support's help to update. So again, I suggest starting that process fairly soon to avoid any unnecessary backlogs and delays due to those. And then finally, when this is now again related to your ACE account, ACE has a kind of a terms and conditions page that our tech support has noticed will cause issues if you haven't accepted in the portal before you start filing from Magaya. So I will show the steps you would need to take for that as well, and encourage you to do that before starting the process in Magaya. All right, so let's go and look at a demonstration. Okay, so first of all, as promised, this is how you would find out what Magaya version you're currently on. If you click Help at the top menu and click on About Magaya Explorer, it'll give you a version number. Mine is version 10.26 currently. And I said if that number is less than 10.25, I suggest an online update. Right, so the first steps would be made in the configuration menu and the specific option here, US Customs Systems. You see that there is now a new checkbox, Enable ACE Portal. That checkbox toggles which username and password you should enter to these fields. If this checkbox is on, the username and password should be of your new ACE portal already. There is also another very important checkbox that I have on, and I suggest that you try first as well, which is Use Testing Environment. And you will see later in the ACE portal, it indicates very clearly whether you're using the testing or training environment or not. If you're using the testing environment, your shipments will not be filed into a real backend database, but it is safe to play around and make sure that it is all working for you. All right, so let's go and file a shipment. I have pre-filled the shipment with data, and I'm not really going to cover how to file or how to fill the data on a shipment because I'm assuming you already know that part. So I'm going to focus on the US Customs part here. One thing that I do want to mention, if we look at the EEI window here, this is the most distinct new data requirement that we have noticed, that if you have the license type C33, which I know is widely used, then the license number, when filing to AES Direct, it used to be blank. Now it needs to be NLR for no license required. But we've actually programmed it in a way that if you choose C33, it fills it automatically. So just don't worry about this, don't delete it. It's required by the ACE portal to transmit NLR if you're using C33. All right, other than that, I'm just going to proceed with the send EEI to AES, and even Customs is still using the terminology AES as well. So we're going to change the windows to say ACE more often, but that is a less important part of the transition process. We wanted to make sure it works first. So it looks like my data is passing all the validations, and I'll click send, and this is the first new screen that we see because we activated the ACE portal. I will enter my ACE username here. Looks like I have a note here with the username somewhere. There you go. And password. Okay, so this happens quite rarely, but sometimes it does, that the login does not take you to a new filing page. And I'm actually quite happy it happened now, so I can demonstrate it on this webinar. Sometimes it takes the user to a page where they need to select their account and continue. That's one of the variations of what can happen after the login screen. So this is what will happen most of the time and what you will want to happen. A new filing screen with data populated from Magaya. It will take a couple of seconds to populate, by the way. That's what we've noticed. And also notice the orange training environment banner at the top, letting me know that I am in the training/test environment. Okay, so I can go through the tabs to view my data exactly like I could in AES Direct, or I can just click the submit button at the bottom, and I'm getting a little pop-up message. So this is the most important change in the workflow. This is really, really critical. It used to be that in AES Direct, it used to be that when you submitted your shipment, your EEI, you had done everything on your part to file it and get the results back in Magaya as well. Here, unfortunately, the new environment requires one more step, a click of the Back to Trade website button. And we have confirmed that unfortunately we cannot rename this button as of yet. This is just technically not possible, or we cannot click it for you. It's not part of the integration that US Customs allows. So this will be left to the user to click. Back to Trade website, essentially think of it as back to Magaya in your case. And if you click on that button, the results will be pushed back to your Magaya database. If you don't, you will get a confirmation number with your ITN. You will have filed the EEI successfully, but your Magaya system will not get the results back. So I will click Back to Trade website. We'll get a confirmation screen that it was successful. If I click close here, it will actually take us to Magaya's website, and I can close the whole tab from the bottom here. And I'm back on my shipment, and just as before, to pull the results with the ITN number, I go to Customs and EIAS results. It'll take a couple of seconds, and the results will populate. They will because I clicked Back to Trade website in the success message screen. I'll click OK here, and I should actually be receiving a confirmation email. Let's look at my inbox here. There you go. This is the filing that I just posted, and I already got the confirmation email. This is a good thing in our experience, how quickly the confirmation emails come from ACE. Also, if you notice, maybe you noticed that there are many addressees on this email, many recipients. The portal will send confirmation emails to the account owner and the user who filed, and then the relevant parties on the shipment. So the account owner will receive more emails than they did before. Okay, so let me go and do it on a next shipment here. I have a few shipments set up. Just do it quickly to show that once you've already logged on and the shipment data is posted correctly, the process is actually pretty quick and straightforward, just to show it again. So if I go on another shipment here, send EEI, as you can see, since I'm already logged on, the login screen didn't appear now. Customs said that the timeout period is about 20 minutes. So if you just keep filing, it's actually quite an easy process. Again, I will have to click Back to Trade website. If I close this window or click somewhere else here, I will not get the results back to Magaya. So I'm clicking back to trade website. I'm pulling my results. And here's my second shipment of the day with the ITN number. Okay, so this is, let me go back to my PowerPoint here. This is how you successfully file it, how you set it up. And if you have any questions about this part, again, you can type it in the Q&A or do it in the end of the session where we have the Q&A part. So since this is a new development, and then even the ACE portal itself, and especially the integration part of it, is still being updated by customs often, and we're developing as they go. We're providing you with updates as they become available to us. There are still some things that are a little problematic. Okay, so the first, a very common issue that we've seen is the terms and conditions page that ACE wants every account to accept just once. And this, the problem with it is that it does not appear when you create your account, your exporter account in ACE, but it appears before your first filing. But if your first filing is from a third-party software such as Magaya, then the pop-up window with the terms and conditions might not appear, and it might cause issues trying to file from Magaya. So how to avoid this? Before you start filing through Magaya, go to the actual ACE portal. So I'm going to go and show how this is done. And in the ACE portal, it'll take a couple of seconds here. In the ACE portal, go to the Accounts tab at the top and select the account type exporter. Click Go and click Submit AES Direct Filings. You see, even Customs still calls it with the old name in the new portal. So once you click here, in my case, it didn't pop up because I had already accepted the terms and conditions. But you will, if it's your first time, if you haven't filed yet to ACE, you will see a pop-up now. And I actually, in my presentation here, I have a picture of it. It'll look something like this, or it will look exactly like this. And you will have to check all these boxes and click Accept. And then you're good to close your ACE portal and start filing from Magaya. If you don't do that, filing from Magaya might cause some issues. After the login, you might be directed to a different page that you don't recognize and may have to do that navigation, those few clicks that you just saw. Again, so it's good. If you haven't filed to ACE yet, navigate through the portal to get this pop-up and accept the terms and conditions, and then file from Magaya. And as mentioned, this only needs to be done once for every ACE account. So if any filer, if any user, either the account owner or a regular user does it, it's good for the whole company. Then the second known issue, and you actually saw it in my demo earlier, is that every now and then you might end up on a different screen after login, if you log in from Magaya. And what to do then, if the screen is the one you saw where you select your account, just select your account and you should be able to proceed normally, as I was. If the screen is, instead of a new filing, a list of existing filings, then just close that screen and send the EEI again from Magaya, because your login was already successful, your session has started, and if you end up anywhere other than new filing, just close it and file again. All right, so now I'm going to demonstrate a few scenarios where things can go slightly wrong. So I have my next shipment set up here. I'm going to file. And so the first thing that can go wrong, and we expect this to happen unfortunately because of the new interface change, is that what if I submit successfully and I happen to click anything but back to trade website here. So for example, if I click close, this window closes. A new empty, or a new, not empty, sorry, it took some time, a new, you're looking back at the filing that you just posted. You have your ITN number. I am receiving the email with the confirmation as we speak. I close this window. I go to Magaya and try to pull the ITN number and other results to Magaya, and it is not happening. That's because we didn't click back to trade website. So what I suggest, we have two options. What I suggest, if your shipment, if your filing was successful, the easiest way really is to just file again, the same shipment. It will count as an amendment, but your data does not need to be updated or different in an amendment. So here I am just filing the same shipment again. Now clicking back to trade website. And this time the results will transmit because I pushed the right button on the ACE side. So this is one way. The other way would be in this window, when it appears blank because the results weren't populated from ACE, you can actually manually check this box, and from the confirmation email, you could copy and paste the ITN number into this field. This is useful because that will ensure that your shipment documents in Magaya and any reports you have displaying the ITN number will still display. Then let's look at the next scenario of things not going as we like them to go. And we'll file a shipment here. Waiting a couple of seconds. And now the shipment is going to be rejected because the data contains some errors. Now, if I know what I got wrong, I could still click back to trade website, go to Magaya, fix the errors, and submit again. But likely I don't know what the errors were, so I will have to click correct errors. This will take me back to the filing here, and it will highlight nicely where the errors were. I will see on the tabs here as well, little red numbers with number of errors per tab. And mine actually was here on the port of export. It looks like I used the incorrect Schedule D code. So I might be really tempted, because it was just a quick fix, to fix it here in the portal and then go and also fix it back in Magaya database, obviously, because you want your data to be consistent. So fixing it here and submitting again, I will get a success message, but this success message will have one critical problem. For some reason, and again, this is not on us, this is part of the ACE portal design. For some reason, the success message after fixing errors does not have the back to trade website button. So now I'm actually guaranteed to not receive the ITN, the confirmation back in Magaya. So I can click close here, can close this one, and I can try, but I promise you it will pop up blank like this. So again, options are copy, check this manually and copy the ITN from the email, or file again, and before that I would now obviously also fix my issue here. File again. Will count as an amendment, but that's fine. And as you can see from the top, there's already an ITN number because the shipment was accepted. And I will click Submit. And back to Trade website. And here is my confirmation. Now, it might happen that since the integration is still new, it might happen that some errors you get on the ACE website are just problems with the transmission, that somehow the data from Magaya transmits incorrectly into ACE. So fixing the problem in Magaya and transmitting again won't help you. If you have to actually manually make changes in the ACE portal and post from there, then the only way of getting the ITN number back to Magaya in that scenario is copy-pasting it into the results window. Of course, if anything like that happens, contact our tech support immediately, because that is likely something that we can fix if you see your data populating in the ACE portal in an incorrect way. So let's talk about a few more items that we've noticed here. This is just a summary slide of the Back to Trade website button and how important this is in the workflow now. So if you clicked elsewhere, either send the EEI again from Magaya or copy-paste the ITN. And if the button is not available because you corrected errors on the site, basically the same options as above. Send the EEI again or copy-paste the ITN from your confirmation email or from the ACE portal itself. So a few issues that we have encountered in tech support and that we have answers for now. First, a few of you are filing commodities that follow under the DDTC protocol, military related commodities, and there have been data issues transmitting from Magaya to ACE. We have already we have tracked them down, working with customs, what the issues were, and we have created a fix. In my current version that I'm using right now, it is not available yet. In the next 10.2 update, fix to the military commodities issues will be posted. So those of you that have support cases pending on that, we already have fixed it. We just are waiting for the next update to come out. Then before version 10.25, there was an issue where the ACE portal rejected shipments where you as a forwarding agent were filing on behalf of a shipper. That has been fixed in 10.25. What the portal requires is that if the shipper, so that's the shipper field from Magaya, is not the ACE account holder, meaning you most likely, then the forwarding agent is required. So put the forwarding agent on the shipment there. In this case, don't leave the forwarding agent blank. Again, you can now file on behalf of a shipper that is not you, just as you could in the AS Direct portal. And third category of issues that we've been reported, that have been reported to us, is problems with filing the same shipment twice as amending. You saw me do that a couple of times here today. Customs have confirmed to us that it should be working. So if that happens, please help us document it so we can report it to them and work with us. So I know a few of you have called tech support with errors where it seems to not accept the same shipment twice, but it has happened rarely, and hopefully it was you know, an anomaly or something that they have fixed in the background in the meantime. Okay, so that covers the known issues part. And I'm just going to revisit now a slide we looked at in the beginning, requirements for successful filing. First of all, you will need an exporter account in the ACE portal. Secondly, you will need to be on Magaya version 10.23 or newer, preferably 10.25. And if you're not, then deal with this rather sooner than later, because as of April 30th, the AES Direct portal will no longer accept filings, even from third-party software such as Magaya. And then finally, if you have your ACE account created, but you haven't filed to ACE yet, accept their terms and conditions in the portal before starting the process in Magaya. That ensures that the process will be smooth. All right, so questions and answers. So we have already a few questions that have been coming in throughout the event. So I will start from the top here. Yeah, so we have the first question I see here is we don't know how to start it. We still get directed to AES instead of ACE. Is it because we have 10.0? That is absolutely the reason. You would need to be on 10.23 or a more recent version than that. Question, do Magaya Cloud users have to message customer service for newer Magaya versions? Yes. We are actually, just let me assure you, we are doing it proactively as well. We see the customer version on our end, so we can contact, and we will, and we actually have been contacting customers with older versions. So in the next couple of weeks that will be happening, but the sooner you contact us, the better as well. Question, how do you edit an already submitted AES? So editing, this can have several answers now. If the EEI was filed in the old AES Direct portal, you can retrieve it. I think that is the term they use in the ACE portal, by logging onto ACE and looking, and there is a way to find shipments that you have filed into AES Direct and edit them and submit the changes. We will include the links that we have for their how-tos and their help pages. There is actually this process is a part of their frequently asked questions as well. So we will include these materials as well. And but if the question was meant as if you filed from Magaya to ACE and you need to edit, then you can basically just make the changes on the shipment in Magaya and just file it again. It will count as an amendment in the ACE portal. And the third option is if it's filed into the ACE portal, either using Magaya or manually by logging onto the portal on ACE, you will actually see it as a list of what you have already filed. So I can go to my ACE, and that is actually the list that I see, and I can edit the shipments right here. All right, next question. Are we set up an exporter account with ACE? And there's a follow-up to this. We're freight forward and NVOCC. We still set up our account as an exporter. Yes, if you need to file EEIs, or formerly known as SEDs, if you were using aesdirect.census.gov to do that, or filing from Magaya to there, yes, the type of account you need in the ACE portal is called exporter. They have multiple types of accounts, as you probably saw in my demo as well. It is the new central platform for all types of export and import reporting and activities. So you will need an exporter account on ACE. And they, again, we have in our newsletters pointed to how to do that, and we will send this information again after this webinar tomorrow. And I just would quickly like to show you the page 1 in Magaya. If you look, just a brief look here already shows 3 mentions of it. So we have the webinar ad here, we have the ACE portal demo, and we have this big banner here for the important updates. These all contain as well how to create your ACE exporter account, some frequently asked questions. So you can just also browse the page 1 in Magaya, and here we have useful links also from customs, not just us. And we even have their helplines here. Again, as I said before, they are a little bit backed up right now. So try to find the answer online, just as a suggestion. But they do have help as well. Question, do I need administrative rights to enable ACE portal in Magaya? Yes, the US Customs setting that we saw in the beginning of the presentation does require you to be an administrator level user in Magaya. Question, is the Schedule B list in Magaya updated? Answer, yes, not in relation to the migration to the new portal. Data requirements should all be the same. That's what we've been told over and over again by customs. The ACE portal was actually launched last summer, so it's been working for manual filing for quite a while now. It's just that for integrations with third-party software, now is when people are mostly doing it. So the Schedule B updates in Magaya, that is a feature that we have had for the past few versions in Magaya already. And if you need help with that, there is our knowledge base article about it. So if you go to Magaya knowledge base and search for updating Schedule Bs, or contact our support. Question, how are we sure that we are correctly registered in ACE? That's a good question. Again, if you go through the steps in their how-to video, it is pretty self-explanatory there. But I would say a good test, if I go back to my ACE here, is that if you're able to navigate to the exporter account and click Submit AES Direct Filings, and you see these buttons, Create Export Filing and Amend Filing, it looks like your account is working. That's my common sense, but I would do that, because remember, if you click that button, that link here, Submit AES Direct Filings, that's when the terms and conditions will also pop up. So I encourage you to do that anyway, and that is also a good way of showing that your ACE account, or your ACE account should be working. Next question, if we have the same harmonized code, but I need an individual amount to show how it is going to work. Now the workflow in how to file from Magaya, how to set up your shipments and your commodities in Magaya, that has not changed. So that question I will not take in this webinar, which is just about the new portal. But I will be happy to contact you later and provide the right links or set you in contact with tech support in how to do that. Also, just an update, we have an automatic update feature on the Magaya Cloud customers. So Magaya Cloud customers might already have the version they need. So again, before contacting tech support and asking for the version update, check from your help menu in Magaya and see About Magaya Explorer in that help menu. That will give you the version number. Tech support's email address is support@magaya.com, and you can also file support cases from your page 1. Again, if I go back to my Magaya here, it does actually get answered quicker if you do it from here, because if you send an email, it goes to a queue. This registers it directly at your account. So this is me. And there you go. My new support case has been logged, and I can see the history of my cases here. So that is a pretty neat feature. That is actually the way we suggest contacting tech support. But you can also email support@magaya.com or call a phone number that you will also see in the end of this presentation. Question, will this presentation be available for download? Yes, we will send the recording, downloadable recording link tomorrow, with also some of the materials that I've been promising as well. Question, how do we file more than one AES for a single shipment? That's again, that is, I will get back to you with that question later, because that is not related to the ACE portal per se, but more how to set your data up in Magaya before filing. How do you print a copy of the EEI result? That is a good question. Well, my favorite personally is the email, because if I go to my email now, see all the filings here, I've received quite a few confirmations, and this is a good confirmation. Or if you go to Magaya and you go to a shipment that you filed, and you open this page again, that could serve as a copy because it has all the data on it, and I can just right-click on it and print. Then next question. Fatal error. If you get a fatal error for any reason, is it possible to use the same shipment reference number? I tried and it wasn't accepted. Had to change the reference number. That is a good question, and that I would direct to our tech support, because that's exactly where, as I mentioned as well, sometimes for some reason the amendments or filing the same shipment twice doesn't seem to work, even though we have been assured it should. So that we need to look at those issues case by case, so that we have a good case to present to the engineers at US Customs. Next question, how to delete EEI in ACE? Can it be done in Magaya? No, it cannot be done in Magaya. You would have to actually go to the portal. Let me open my portal here. I believe there might be a delete button right here. There you go. Right next to the list of the EEIs that you have filed, there is a delete button. And by the way, the drafts, if you have filed a draft but not fully submitted it, as far as I know, they actually self-delete in 30 days. That's the design of the new website. Is there a way to fill ACE before, or to file ACE before loading the shipment? And if you mean loading by, as in Magaya terms, as load items onto the shipment, then no, because that's part of the data that's transmitted. You could, of course, you can always log on to the ACE portal manually and file from there. That just means that you later have to type in the same data in Magaya. Can we have the login credentials saved automatically rather than having to log in every time, or is this not, or is that not an option? Very good question. Unfortunately, that is not part of the ACE portal design. The user will always have to, if the session is not active, the user will always have to log in. Developers have asked that from Customs, and this is a security concern, and that is how the system is designed. So you will have to log in, or you will have to just keep your session open by filing frequently. And the login and password field you saw in the configuration setting, those are technically not used for filing, but they're actually used for retrieving the ITN number, retrieving the results. That's why we need any user's valid ACE account login and password there, but it won't help you with filing. With filing, you will always have to log in first or have a session already opened. In my ACE portal, I see a bunch of draft messages. Why does this happen? Is it something to do with Magaya that we're doing wrong? If you file from Magaya and it doesn't pass, if it gets rejected by ACE, it gets saved as a draft, the same as if you would manually go to ACE and complete a filing there, try to submit, but it gets rejected. It'll get saved as draft. So that's all I know about the ACE draft functionality at this point. Question: does Magaya or ACE ask me for my password again after 15 minutes? As far as I know, it is 20 minutes, the timeout. There was a participant who didn't have sound for this presentation. I do hope that this was not a general issue. Is there some way we can see the process again? Yes, we're going to share a recording tomorrow morning. Question: the weight input on the ACE filing, will it affect the weight in Magaya loading? There on the EEI tab, there is a separate weight field than the commodity weight for some types of Schedule B codes. All right, so there's a question about ACE account. Again, if it is an ACE question, I will answer to the best of my knowledge, but they do have their own helpline and their own frequently asked questions part as well on the website. So the ACE account, for the ACE question is for the ACE account, there is one owner, and then the users have to be created logging in with the owner's account, question mark. Yes. When you first create the ACE account, you will be the account owner, and then there is a way in the platform to go and create additional users and give them privileges to file what they call AS direct filings. But the user you first create will be the account owner. Okay. Let's see. I think we are actually, okay, there's one, oh, I see, one more question, which is, again, about more than one ITN per house. This is more a question about how to structure the data in Magaya. There are multiple ways, either sub-houses or different options here. It looks like it's good that you're asking these questions, because it looks like maybe we can include a little recap on how to set up the shipments, or how, that part of the EEI filing as a newsletter or as a follow-up communication to this webinar as well. Okay, so I don't see any more questions at this point. Let me also check the chat part, because maybe someone was using. Oh, there is a good question. Do we need to change the password every 60 days like we did in AES Direct? That is, I remember that question coming up on the ACE webinar, but unfortunately I don't remember their answer to that. It is documented. When you set up your account, there is a password requirements page, and I think that mentions also the expiration of the password. There is some sort of expiration, but I don't remember if it's 60 days, unfortunately. Okay, and then there was again the question, where would the terms and conditions window be? And again, if you log on to your ACE portal and you're on the exporter account and you click Submit AS Direct Filings, now is when it should pop up. If it doesn't, also check your browser's pop-up blocker. It usually would give a little blinking error somewhere on the corner. And if it still doesn't, maybe someone from your company, another user, already accepted these terms and conditions. Okay, looks like we have no more questions. Thank you very much. This is how to contact Magaya. Call 786-845-9150 for tech support, or submit a question directly from page 1.